Welcome to my video look at the M9S Pro Android box. Now this is the package you get included, very much standard. First thing to note is do bear in mind the M series boxes do look quite similar. This one is running on the 8-core S912 chipset. I have the specs just up there on the screen so you can see the differences. There are quite some significant differences between this and some other M series boxes. On the side, not much information, just some basic info and spec. And looking at the remote, this is the newer style of programmable remote. You have shortcut buttons along the top. There's 5 of them, so you can map the TV controls to the remote. It has a learning function, so that's quite handy. It's not going to replace an Air mouse. It only has a digital mouse, but it's an okay remote for an Android box. 2 AAA batteries are required. These are my own. There's none supplied in the box. And just taking a look at the box itself, it's a matte finish with glossy on the sides, and on the front there is an LED indicator for the power status. This takes an SD card, a full-size card on the side, and on the back we have 2 USB ports, the HDMI out, the Ethernet port, AV, optical, and there's a power input, so pretty much standard for this type of chipset. On the underside we have the 4 silicone pads and the ventilation slots. Now the power indicator is red when it's off or in standby, turning to blue. It is quite well diffused, but I would keep it out of line of sight in a dark room because it could be a touch distracting. You get quite a nice animation effect when it boots up. It's similar to other boxes that I've used and seen. Now heading to the main menu system here, we have a slight variation, but the similar sort of theme to many other boxes with 8 pre-configured ones at the top, but at the bottom you can customize the layout with the apps that you have pre-installed, so you can add and remove them as you see fit. Happy enough with that. The only thing I'd change maybe is the Netflix. If you don't use Netflix, the space is kind of wasted there, so I prefer they just put a slot for favorites or something. As you'd expect, we have Kodi pre-installed. It's not quite the latest version, so you can upgrade to 17.0 if you wish, but there are quite a lot of streams included in this box, so it would be considered fully loaded as such. That includes the music and the videos. There is an add-on installer to help you pick any particular ones that you want, so you can go through those and add and remove the ones that you wish. Fairly easy to do. There's quite a lot of streams there anyway, so I'd be surprised if you need to do that much, but some people have their own custom ones they like. There is a memory clean tool. You've got 2 gigs of RAM, but still sometimes you can make use of that. Now we're having a look at the installed apps. A reasonable number, it's not too many. There's a few there that I wouldn't use, such as the social media ones, but they've got some streaming ones in there, and some media center apps which are okay for what they are. Now looking at the menu system, very familiar to anyone who has used Android 6. Did check for an update on this and there wasn't, but I assume it's working based on what I've seen. Now another feature that I quite like is the option to specify whether the unit sleeps or fully shuts down. I usually set it to shut down, so that's something which is newer to these types of up-to-date Android boxes that we didn't have previously, so that's nice to see. It's a very small point, but it's nice to have an option on that. Regards storage, we have about 10 gigs spare, and it's fairly easy to move over to the SD card slot if you need to. Now the other menu systems are very much as you'd get on an Android phone. There's no surprises here. You do get a memory tool just to show you what RAM usage you are. I'd be surprised if you have any problems. There is Bluetooth on this as well. We also have dual band Wi-Fi. Now running the Geekbench CPU benchmark, and we come back with a score of 2320, which is very good. This is quite a bit faster than the quad-core boxes out there, something around about 50%, and if we scroll down to the bottom here you'll see it's similar to sort of G3 and the S5. So nothing to fault really on the processor performance, quite a nice jump on that. Now the graphics test, I'm using this particular program which I run on all the boxes, and you can see that the frame rates are already very good just running through that. Now the average frame rate score was 41.6, which is a very good score. You're looking at about double the performance of the quad-core S905 boxes for graphics, so if you're a graphics user or a gamer, this could be of interest. So a quick summary on the Android box. I like most of what I see. This is a variation on this chipset. There's a few models around that are using exactly the same specifications, and I haven't had any issues with them at all. Couple of things I'd note: I would have liked a USB 3 port. I'm not particularly keen on the front LED light. I think it's a bit bright, and something a bit more subtle would do. But overall, there's a good graphics performance on this and a good processor performance, so really it comes down to your own personal taste.